Big news. Now trending. Holy okay, maybe I'm a bit excited. But the voice of Nassau Community College has been nominated to be the best radio station on Long Island in the Bethpage Long Island Awards. You can help us win the award by choosing to vote once a day, every day at bestoflongisland.com. Find us under Arts and Entertainment and click. Tell your friends and family that we're number one, numero uno, cream of the crop. You get the point. Thanks for voting and listening to 90.3 WHPC.
This show is brought to you by Disney on Ice presents Road Trip Adventure, coming to NYCB Live, home of the Nassau Veterans Memorial Coliseum, November 21st through the 30th. Mickey, Minnie, and you embark on a ride to your favorite Disney destinations. See the world from the rooftops of London, travel to the sun-soaked Motunui, set off on a safari to the Pride Lands, and play at a larger-than-life carnival with Woody and Forky. It's a getaway packed with unexpected hijinks and up-close character interactions. More information is available online at DisneyOnIce.com.
The voice of Nassau Community College.
A 2019 Marconi Award finalist from the National Association of Broadcasters.
This is 90.3 WHPC.
WHPC HG Garden City.
Available anytime on your smart speaker.
And anywhere on iHeartRadio.
Welcome to Law You Should Know. The law affects every aspect of our lives, our home, our jobs, and our recreational activities. Now you can learn about the law and how to protect yourself against the loss of your liberty or property. Learn how to stand up for your rights and seek compensation when you have been wronged. Your host for Law You Should Know is attorney Kenneth J. Landau with the Mineola Law Firm of Shane, Dox, Denisi, and Corker. He's a member of the Committee on Professional Ethics of the Bar Association of Nassau County and counsel to the Nassau Academy of Law. And now, here is your host for Law You Should Know, attorney Kenneth J. Landau.
Hi, this is Ken Landau, and welcome to Law You Should Know. Today we'll be talking about the University of Buffalo Law School, which is part of the SUNY system here in New York. And our guest is Lindsay Gladney, and she is the Vice Dean for Admissions. Lindsay, welcome to Law You Should Know.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
And this is good for anyone to know who's thinking of law school, because these are the same things you'd want to find out about any law schools you're considering. And Lindsay, just tell us for a moment, tell us about the background of and what's your official name?
University at Buffalo School of Law.
Okay. And so just tell us a little bit about the origins and of the law school and where it's come since then.
Oh, sure. So the law school was founded back in 1887, so we're actually in our 132nd year, and a lot of people don't realize that, but we are the only law school in the State University of New York system. So for that reason, as you might guess, our tuition is quite affordable, not only for in-state residents, but also non-residents. So currently, our in-state tuition is $25,410 per year for New York State residents, and the added expense for non-residents is about $4,000. So they pay $29,500 per year. So we draw students from the region, but also from surrounding states, out of state, and even from our neighbors to the north in Ontario.
So, and it's a very good bargain for in-state students who want to keep their tuition costs down, but it's also a bargain for out-of-state students.
Absolutely, and in addition to our low tuition, we also offer merit scholarships to over 80% of our incoming students. That has been true for our last two admission cycles, and our merit scholarships range from $2,500 per year all the way up to full tuition scholarship, with an average award around $9,500 per year for those who do receive scholarships. So it really is a bargain, and finally, as you know, Western New York offers a really low cost of living, well below the national average. Forbes recently ranked Buffalo as the third most affordable city in America.
And you do allow law students to live on campus near the school, or there's plenty of other places they can live in this? And the school's actually in the suburbs of Buffalo.
Correct. So we're located in Amherst, which has regularly ranked one of the safest cities in America. It's about 15 to 20 minutes from downtown Buffalo. And yes, we do have on-campus housing for graduate and professional students. We even have a designated area for law students.
And what are some of the new programs that you're offering at the law school?
Sure. So we, in addition to having 8 different concentrations, including criminal law, cross-border legal studies, environmental law, we recently introduced our newest concentration in sports law, which, of course, prepares students to handle the wide range of legal matters in the expanding sports law industry. In addition to that, we've recently expanded our clinical course offerings. So this past January, for example, students in our new U.S.-Mexico border clinic, they completed a 2-week intensive course here in O'Brien Hall studying refugee and asylum law, and then they traveled down to Dilley, Texas, where they represented asylum seekers. They helped them prepare for their credible fear interviews at the South Texas Family Detention Center. So that's one of our newer clinics. We're also very proud of our Veterans Legal Practicum course, which is fairly new as well. The students enrolled in that course, they perform service learning to help address the needs of our country's veterans. So they work with New York State's Justice for Heroes program. They provided a grant to the UB School of Law to help create the Veteran Legal Assistance Practicum. And so this course builds on past success of other veterans' work in the law school.
And tell us, where do your graduates, what kind of jobs and fields do they go on to after the graduation?
So there's quite a variety. I would say 2/3 of our graduates end up in private practice, but they are placed at firms of all different sizes. So we have graduates who end up at quite small law firms all the way up to your corporate law, large, big law firms, down in New York City and other large metro areas. And then we also have quite an interest from our students in public interest work and social justice initiatives. So we see a lot of students placed in public interest positions as well as government positions as well.
And as you said, many of your students and graduates are from the New York and downstate area, and many, because of those things you mentioned, also work elsewhere in the Northeast and in places like Washington, D.C., and around the country and around the world.
That's correct. So behind Buffalo Western New York, our second largest alumni chapter is in New York City, followed by D.C. We also have a semester-long program in New York City. It's a finance and law program for students who are interested in corporate practice and finance. It takes place every fall semester, and students live and study in New York City for a full semester. They're also placed in a externship during that semester. But the only added expense, of course, would be the cost of living for that semester.
And as you said, Buffalo, is a city on the upswing, and also it's very close to Niagara Falls and not far from Toronto and other Midwestern cities.
Right. And I think those not from the area, especially prospects not from New York State, like to think of us as Northeast, but we're almost more on the Midwest. We are located on an international border, so Toronto, as you stated, it's a 2-hour drive to downtown Toronto. And we are the second largest city in New York State. We are often overshadowed by New York City, but we have quite a large, engaging legal community here as well. And it is, the city has been experienced a renaissance over the last, I would say, 7 to 8 years. So there's a lot going on here. It's an exciting time to be in Buffalo.
And your school though the city is next door, you're physically situated in a new affluent suburb.
That's correct. So we are the first building, I think, built on North Campus back in the 70s. Now the North Campus is quite bustling. It's oftentimes referred to as UB's main campus. So our students have the luxury of having access to all the university resources here on campus, but then also having a monopoly on all of the legal opportunities in downtown Buffalo, being that we are the only law school in Buffalo. And there is, believe it or not, we do have a pretty robust public transportation system. So we have transportation between Buffalo's North Campus, which is in a suburb, and the South Campus, which is actually in the city of Buffalo. And then our South Campus links to downtown Buffalo via a subway line. So we have one subway line. It runs under Main Street. A lot of people not from the area don't realize that, but it is very possible to get around without a car.
Right. Someone doesn't need a car to be there. You have dorms. You have your own university bus system, and there's plenty of mass transit.
Exactly.
Around. And there's also, many airlines go from New York and other major cities to Buffalo, as well as Amtrak and other mass transit.
That's true. So we do attract, year after year, we bring in a lot of students from downstate who are really accustomed to relying on public transportation down in New York, and I think Buffalo does a pretty good job of offering that as well.
What are some of the other clinical programs you have?
So we offer the Puerto Rico Recovery Assistance Clinic. We have a community economic clinic as well. One of our newest clinics that I did not touch on earlier is the Entrepreneurship Law Center Clinic that will run for the first time this fall. And students in that clinic will provide legal services to entrepreneurs and startups who are not quite ready or able to engage outside legal counsel. So they're going to work with diverse companies really in the Buffalo, Western New York area who are confronting a variety of business challenges specific to startups and early-stage high-growth ventures. So we're very excited for that. The clinic is going to focus primarily on 4 objectives, which would be experiential learning, excellence in service, accelerating women-owned businesses, and economic development here in Western New York.
In terms of extracurricular activities at the law school, there are many others at the university, of course, and university, sports teams. But the law school itself has various law journals.
Yes, we have currently 6 different student-run law journals, with, I would say, the Buffalo Law Review having the longest history, maybe being the most prestigious. So students do compete to get on the Buffalo Law Review at the end of their first year. The other law journals are interest-specific, so we have the Environmental Law Journal is one of them. They have different ways to get on those that maybe aren't as quite competitive, but they're based on interest areas. Outside of the law journals, we have, a number of different moot court teams and mock trial teams that compete at all different stages as well, regionally, within the state, and even nationally and internationally. So there are a lot of opportunities to get involved, outside of academics.
And also to bolster your credentials and get some interesting experience.
Absolutely. So law journals and taking any leadership position either through our trial advocacy program or even through one of our student organizations that fall under the Student Bar Association are really great resume builders. Those are, discussion points during interviews that are very important, of course, throughout the law school experience. So strongly encourage students to do that. Of course, during the first year, we definitely want them to focus on academics, but then we encourage that they take on some roles in our student organizations after successful completion of the first year.
And you'll also help them to try to find some type of job, in the Buffalo area or in other, major cities in New York or wherever they want to work?
Really, our Career Services Office, what they do each fall is they require first-year law students to meet with them during the first semester. They do an intake, so they get an idea of what the student's interested in, where they might see themselves during the summer after the first year, and also where they may see themselves post-graduation. And then they really work with the student, really depending on their interests. Given our location, we do place a lot of students in Buffalo and upstate New York. We also, because we pull students from the New York City area, we tend to place students there as well. But like I said, our career services, they really want to meet the student where they are, listen to their interests, and help them, provide them the resources to get them where they want to go, whether that be Buffalo, New York, or out of state.
Okay, we're going to take a short break. When we return, we'll talk more about the admissions process, other electives available at the University at Buffalo Law School, and we're talking with Lindsay Gladney, and she's the Vice Dean for Admissions at the law school. You're listening on 90.3 WHPC, the voice of Nassau Community College, and also over the internet at nccradio.org. We'll be back in a minute.
This program is brought to you by Nassau Community College, which offers a paralegal studies program. Students can major in paralegal studies while earning their associate's degree, or earn a paralegal certificate if they already have a college degree. These programs can even help you start a second career as a paralegal. It's a program for anyone who wants to work in a law office assisting lawyers, the government, or a position in an insurance company. More information about full-time, part-time, days, evenings, weekends, or online courses is available by calling 516-572-7774 or by email at paralegal@ncc.edu.
Once again, we continue with Law You Should Know. From the Mineola Law Firm of Shane, Dox, Denise, Corker, and Sauer, here is attorney Kenneth J. Landau.
Hi, this is Ken Landau, and welcome back to Law You Should Know. This is one of our continuing series profiling various law schools in New York State, and we're talking about the University at Buffalo School of Law, which is the only SUNY law school in New York State, and we're talking with Lindsay Gladney, and she is the Vice Dean of Admissions for the law school. And Lindsay, just take a few minutes and just tell us about the admissions process and what does the law school look for in admitting law students, especially non-traditional criteria.
Sure. So we take a holistic approach to reviewing our applications. Of course, there are some numerical factors that we take into consideration, the LSAT and the GPA. This year, in December, actually, of 2018, we announced that we would also begin accepting the GRE. So we began accepting the GRE for fall 2019 admission as well. So now students can opt to submit either the LSAT or the GRE. So those are the numerical factors, the standardized tests and the undergraduate GPA. In addition, we will consider any graduate coursework or graduate degrees earned. And then non-numerical factors include any law-related internship or professional work experience, leadership positions held at the undergraduate level. We look very closely at the personal statement, so we look for sincere interest in the study and the practice of law. We look closely at recommendation letters, and then we're also looking at the applicant's writing abilities. So when we're reviewing applications, we're looking to make sure that the student would be successful in the first-year curriculum if offered admission, that they would, be successful finding employment post-graduation, then we want to have confidence that they would do well in the bar exam as well.
And let's assume they get into the school and they get through their first year. What are some of the elective courses available to them to help them sort of major in something while they're in law school or concentrate in an area of the law or one or more areas of the law?
Sure. So we have dozens and dozens of elective courses. So I'm not going to give too many examples, but the concentrations we offer, I think I mentioned earlier, criminal law, environmental law, finance and development, family law, intellectual property, international law, and sports law. One of the nice things about our relationship with our very loyal alumni is that many of them give back to teach some of our elective courses. We host something called the January Bridge Term, which is available to second and third year students. They can come take courses during the month of January. They're short-term courses, usually 1 or 2 credits each, and they're typically taught by adjunct faculty who are practitioners in the legal community here in Western New York. The nice thing about those courses is that they are applied to their spring credit course load, so they are not being charged separately for any courses taken during the January Bridge Term. One example I can think of is a practitioner who might also be very involved with our trial team, would teach a 1-credit course on cross-examining a witness. But this is where we really are able to tap into the talents of our alumni in the area.
And are there some unusual electives as well that you've recently added to the curriculum?
There are a number of different electives. I don't have the course listing in front of me, but they're all accessible to the public online. If you visit our website, at the end of the show, I will provide contact information. So anyone listening who might be interested in the University at Buffalo School of Law could certainly reach out to me, and I could link them to that information.
And generally, college students and others, some people have taken a break, worked in another career, and now they're ready to go to law school. And, of course, they may apply to several law schools. And you are a lower cost school, you're a convenient school, so it's good if people consider Buffalo in the mix of schools they're applying to.
Absolutely, and I meant to mention when we were discussing the admissions criteria that this past fall, in fall 2018, we enrolled about 150 students. They came from 50 different undergraduate majors. The average age of a first-year student is typically 25 or 26, but 32% of our first-year cohort last summer were above the age of 30. So we do have quite a mix: career changers, people who decide that they want an advanced degree later in their career.
And if someone's not sure if they would qualify, or they want to sit in on a class or just experience the school and the environment, are they welcome to come visit and tour the school?
Absolutely. So we host 3 open houses per year, usually 2 in the fall and 1 in February. We also have an online individual visit request form where they can select to sit in on a first-year law lecture, take a tour with a current law student, and meet with an admissions representative. As long as we have classes in session and it's not during final exams, we allow them and welcome them to sit in on law lectures. We also recruit in the fall out of town, and once we have our fall recruitment calendar confirmed, we will share that online as well to say where we'll be in the area, in the New York City area. They're from there.
And someone has a unique admission situation, maybe English isn't their first language, or they just don't do so well on tests. Can they meet with you to explain their situation?
Absolutely. Not only could they meet with me, they can also submit an addendum to their application explaining any areas of concern, and we would encourage that. But we'd be happy to meet with them to inform them how to appropriately do that and approach that process.
Now, you also have master's law programs. Tell us about those.
We do. We offer, I think, currently 8 different dual degree programs. Oh, and we have, I think you mean master's in law. So I meant master's in law, and then I was going to come to dual degree programs. Okay. Go ahead. Sure. So in addition to our general LLM, which is really designed for foreign-trained attorneys who hold an LLB from their home country and want to gain admission to a bar in the U.S., we have a general LLM program for them. We also have a criminal law LLM program, a cross-border legal studies LLM program, and an environmental law LLM program. And I may have mentioned this earlier, our advanced standing 2-year JD is also very attractive to foreign-trained attorneys. And then given our location on a comprehensive campus, so the University of Buffalo is home to almost 30,000 students. The law school, of course, is quite small. We're home to about 450 students. But because of our affiliation with the university, we're able to offer a number of different dual degree programs. Our most popular one over the years has been our JD MBA, which is 4 years of study. We also offer dual degrees with the School of Social Work, with the School of Architecture and Planning. We have a JD Master's in Urban Planning. We have a number of JD PhD programs as well.
What else would you like to say to someone who's thinking about Buffalo, or perhaps not thinking about Buffalo, on why Buffalo might be the perfect fit for their legal education?
Well, I think that our community is extremely supportive. So we have a deep level of commitment to students and their education, which I think is shared by every member of the School of Law and our legal community. So that spans our faculty, staff, alumni, even our current students. That's just kind of the vibe here, not only at the law school, but in Buffalo. Students and faculty, they really go out of their way to help each other, to teach and inspire students. and the endless opportunities we have, whether it be through our clinical courses or our externship placements. We have a mentor program that is run by our Career Services Office as well as the Law Alumni Association. And every winter, the School of Law collaborates with the Law Alumni Association to coordinate an annual matching reception. So they host a mentor matching reception. It just goes to show how much our alumni want to give back to our students. And I think the students who come here, even from out of town, out of state, really feel that they're welcome. Many of our students who come from out of the area end up staying in Buffalo. It's really a good time to be in the city of Buffalo.
And one of the big pluses of the school is it is more affordable than many other law schools, and many law students are concerned about law student debt, especially if they already have student debt.
That's right. So there's definitely the cost benefit. In addition to the cost being low, we also here at the School of Law, we have our own registrar and financial aid office. We have a financial aid coordinator that's here in O'Brien Hall just to serve law students. So that's a bonus as well. Students will not need to navigate the long lines that they might see elsewhere on campus because we are a large campus with a lot of students. So we really are able to provide that individualized attention, especially when they have very important questions regarding cost and student loan debt.
And depending on what the setting the law student goes on to after law school, there are some ways to mitigate or reduce or even gradually eliminate law school debt.
That's true. There are some loan repayment programs if they are practicing in certain sectors that would cover their debt. I don't have the exact details in front of me, but again, if anyone were to reach out, it could provide additional information about those repayment options or forgiveness options.
We just have a moment or two left. Just give us your contact information. If someone just wants to find out more about the school, want to arrange for a visit, or just get some more information on courses or faculty or opportunities.
Absolutely. So the Office of Admissions can be reached at 716-645-2907. We also have an email address that's law-admissions@buffalo.edu. They can ask to speak with me directly. My name is Lindsay Gladney. I'd be happy to schedule a phone appointment if they're unable to travel here or meet them in person in my office. One other thing I wanted to leave with is that the law school has some very exciting news to share. So this August, U.S. Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg is set to visit Buffalo, in addition to being presented with an honorary doctoral degree in law by the SUNY Chancellor. Justice Ginsburg will spend part of her time teaching students here at the law school. So we are very excited about this. You can learn more on our website at law.buffalo.edu. And I strongly encourage anyone listening to also follow us on social media. So look for us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
And as you said, Buffalo is a major U.S. city and the second largest city in New York State. Just give us your contact information one more time.
Sure. So
and your website.
The phone number for the Office of Admissions is 716-645-2907. And our email address is law-admissions, so admissions with an S at the end, at buffalo.edu. Our website is law.buffalo.edu.
And this is Ken Landau. I would just like to remind our listeners that we will have profiles of other law schools in the future. And as you've heard, you have nothing to lose by finding out more about University of Buffalo Law School. It may be the right and the most affordable school for you. And you've heard how to get information about it. If you missed any part of this program or you want to tell someone else about it, the podcast of this or other programs that are part of Law You Should Know are available at nccradio.org. You were listening to 90.3 WHPC, the voice of Nassau Community College, and also over the internet, nccradio.org. Please join us at this same time next week for another program on Law You Should Know.
expressed on air are not necessarily those of WHPC, its management, or Nassau Community College. Responsible opposing viewpoints will be considered by emailing them to whpc@ncc.edu or by mail at WHPC 1 Education Drive, Garden City, New York 11530. Thanks for listening to the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Hi, I'm Dr. Shelley Flace with today's tip for kids from the American Academy of Pediatrics. Parents make all kinds of choices about their child's health. One important way you can protect your child's health is with vaccines. Viruses and bacteria are unpredictable, and even healthy children can develop severe complications.
I'm all done.
By vaccinating, you can feel good that you're doing everything you can to protect your child from harmful diseases. If you have questions about your child's vaccines, talk with your pediatrician and visit healthychildren.org.
Hi, I'm Dr. Anita Chandra with today's tip for kids from the American Academy of Pediatrics. Did you know e-cigarettes can be just as addictive as regular cigarettes? This is especially true for teenagers whose brains are still developing. Parents should learn the names for e-cigarettes and what they look like. Talk to your teen about the dangers of nicotine. Often, teens who start with e-cigarettes take up other forms of tobacco. For more information, visit healthychildren.org and talk with your pediatrician.
Welcome to Just Relationships, the show that offers you concrete ways to make your relationships better. Whether it's your boss, your spouse, your children, or your friends, the quality of your relationships in life directly affects how you feel about yourself and the success you achieve. Your host, Dr. Duffy Spencer, a psychotherapist, telecoach, author, and seminar leader, will interview top experts to help you learn to manage this essential part of your life. And now, here's your host, Dr. Duffy Spencer.
Greetings to you. If you listened to last week's show, you know you're in for a treat. And if you didn't, here's the deal. We are going to be talking again with Ora Nadrich, who is the author of Live True, a mindfulness guide to authenticity. So if you want to follow your North Star, as they say, be true to yourself, as Shakespeare would say, and be authentic and find out what it means to be mindful. So much to learn here. And welcome back, Ora.
Hi, Dr. Duffy. Thank you so much for having me back.
Oh, my pleasure. And you had shared with us that you wrote Live True after the passing of your beloved sister, who was mentally ill and passed, and that you felt inspired by her and had an even newer appreciation of life and its finiteness after having lost her. And you kind of made a decision, it seems, that you were going to what? You were going to live a certain way.
That's right. Yeah, very much so. As I said earlier, that when you lose a loved one, it really puts everything into perspective. At least it did that for me. And I felt that there is no better time than to show up for life and be as present as you possibly can in all the moments of your life. You know, not to waste a single one of them.
So does that mean when you're brushing your teeth and getting dressed and getting your breakfast ready, if you eat breakfast, or what is, you gave us such a great example last time of having to
life
stop
gazing.
Yes, life gazing, and having to stop at a red light, and
Right.
instead of being just annoyed, to look at the people around you and and be curious. Yeah.
You know, you bring up these sort of daily rituals that we do, you know, and I say, if you can, try not to jump out of bed like a ball out of a cannon. You know, one way to practice mindfulness from the minute you open your eyes is to be aware that you're alive one more day. You know, to take a minute to just, you know, open your eyes, not reach for that phone or your device, you know, that's probably right next to your bed, or for a lot of people it is, and to maybe connect to your breath and just be in gratitude that you're alive one more day. You know, if you can even just jumpstart your day with that and really be present in the awareness of the gratitude of being alive one more minute, one more day, that's a great way to start mindfulness.
I couldn't agree more.
Begin your day like that.
I couldn't agree more, Ora. Yes, and I like how you have your book divided, the different aspects of it. Part 1 is about time and what it means to be in the now, and then this magic moment. I couldn't help myself.
I'm so glad you did.
Yes, thank you.
You did that. I love it.
Yes. And the past, the present, the future, and today. And then you move into part 2, which is about understanding, and you talk about wholeness and coexistence and consciousness and self and perception, desire, thoughts, knowledge, behavior. And then part 3, living. And what about love and acceptance and truth and honesty and authenticity and compassion and purpose and intention and service, these beautiful, beautiful concepts. And then finally part 4, realization, reality and destiny and self-realization, coming to the I am and coming to a sense of oneness. So much. You put so much into this book, Ora.
I tried.
Yeah.
I tried. You know, you try and cover as much as you possibly can, you know, and I think there's some wonderful nuggets throughout it that even I can open it mid-chapter and there's something in there that might resonate for someone right in that moment.
Right,
you know? And it's that kind of a book.
It's that kind
really
of a book, and it's filled with not only your own brilliance but fabulous quotes, and I love Marianne Williamson, one of my heroes, and she calls you one of her favorite wise women, and the world is a better place because she casts her light upon it.
I know, wow, right? What a beautiful, beautiful
wow
thing. It's such a wow. She wowed me. She is a wow anyway, but she wowed me with that. So,
you didn't expect it, and when you read those words, you were probably really grateful, very gratified.
Very much so. Yeah, I was profoundly moved by those words. Yeah, I felt very blessed to have her, you know, write something so beautiful like that. Very touched by it.
And even, I'm just looking, notes to self, I desire what is best for me. And such a simple yet profound statement. And how many people don't even believe they have the right to their own good or their own desires. And then the very next sentence, I desire what is best for others. And I desire what is best for all. My goodness, Ora Nadrich, those 3 sentences put together are the essence. And it's so simple yet so profound.
Oh, I like that you said that, Dr. Duffy, because I say it's simple wisdom. Do you know? I think we complicate things an awful lot.
Right.
And I think when wisdom really comes up, it's like this crystal clear sound of a bell. You know, something just goes, you know, reverberates in our mind, and we just recognize it as truth. You know?
Yes.
And the note to self parts of the book, you know, the chapters are broken down to, you know, those chapters that you read so beautifully, and then they end with a meditation, and which really kind of encapsulates the essence of the chapter, and that you can then bring that into a meditation if you so desire to. And then the note to self is like the takeaway. You know, even if you're going to remember just a couple of things to say to yourself, to remember, like that friendly reminder, you know, what's really the essence, what's the pearl that I can take from this chapter. That's what Note to Self really was intended to be.
And Another note to self, my behavior reflects the best of who I am. And this is affirmation style, right? Because an affirmation is in present time and positive.
Yes.
And our behavior does not always reflect the best of who we are.
Right.
This is our aspiration.
Right.
And by creating it as an affirmation, it makes it that much more intentional. You talk about intention.
Right.
Yes. So you have a meditation for behavior. Let me be aware of my behavior. Let my behavior be mindful. Let my behavior not hurt or offend others. Let my behavior reflect my authentic self. How gorgeous.
Thank you.
Oh.
It's just thank you so much. I don't know. Even hearing you say it, you have a lovely voice, and just hearing you say that, and that's really what I intended to get through by writing those words in the chapter, the meditation, the note to self, and just say, oh, if you just utter these words to yourself, and even just feel what that's like in your body.
Right.
That when we say these words to ourselves, when we say those affirmations, and we say positive things to ourselves versus negative things, Yes. And what that feels like, the difference of what it feels like even in the body, because we hold that energy in our body, and words have so much energy. They're so powerful.
For sure. And the power of intention. So you go into a situation, say a party, and there's a whole mix of people, and some people you really, really like, and some people you may feel neutral toward, and some people you may not care for so much. And to say, let my behavior reflect my authentic self. And that doesn't mean that if you dislike someone, you are going to be nasty to them, right?
Right. So, yes, and that's, again, what mindfulness does. Mindfulness is there to help us. It's like we've got this incredible ability, something to use that helps us move through these moments with elegance, with intelligence, with kindness, with compassion, so that, let's just say, when you start to really develop your mindfulness ability, skill, quality, that you can catch yourself in a moment when you immediately judge somebody that you might not even know. And I say, look, not everybody's our cup of tea. That's okay, but to be more aware of why somebody is triggering you, or you have such a visceral reaction to someone. Now, look, somebody can be terribly annoying or not very likable. I get that, but sometimes we really, are immediately judgmental about people, and we could be a little bit more discerning as to why do I feel such a visceral reaction to this person that I don't even know. Right. And we judge people harshly based on the way they look, based on the way they wear their hair, based on the sound of their voice, based on what their beliefs are. It goes on and on and on. And we know that there are a lot of challenges in the world today in the way that people treat each other.
Yes.
Based on these judgments.
So true, so true. I couldn't agree more. Ora Nadrich, author of Live True, A Mindfulness Guide to Authenticity. And your book is available everywhere, I assume, bookstores and online.
Yes. Amazon, very quick to order it on Amazon, or to receive it, I should say. It's available, for sure.
Live True, A Mindfulness Guide to Authenticity. Ora, O-R-A, and Nadrich, N-A-D-R-I-C-H. And we are 90.3 WHPC. So I wanted to ask you, Ora, let's just stay with this authenticity. And so there's someone that you don't care for. You may, as you say, have a visceral reaction against them. And in that moment, you're not going to necessarily discern or say, gee, now why do I have a negative reaction to them? Is it because of their appearance, how they're walking, how they're talking, how they're wearing their hair? You don't have to do that in the moment, right? You can simply what do in the moment like that?
I feel that, again, that awareness, that mindful awareness of whatever you're feeling in the moment, if it's being judgmental, if you're triggered, I think what tends to be disruptive is that we allow for the feelings that we're feeling to create a reaction in us. And where, again, that mindful awareness can be so helpful is to, where is that feeling or that emotion or that thought that's creating that emotion going to take us? Where are we going to allow it to take us? It's what we talked about in our last conversation together, that can really be very disruptive. It could take you down this bad mood rabbit hole. It can ruin your time at a party.
Yes.
People really can let themselves get very unhinged by their reactions to things and to people. I cite in my first book, Says Who, which is a method that I created for transforming negative and fear-based thoughts. I brought up road rage, because someone cuts you off in traffic, it really pisses you off. You say all these terrible things about that person inside your own head, and the next thing you know, somebody who's really in major reactive mood wants to go after that person, which can be very dangerous for everybody. So having a mindful awareness of something that comes up, and sometimes we got to take a couple of breaths because it's pulsating in our body. You're pissed off, you're feeling your heartbeat starts to increase, your palms can start sweating, you can want to say things out loud that you can't roll back into your mouth.
Right.
So I find mindfulness just extremely helpful in, again, not only staying present, not only being aware, not only being, showing up, if you will, in the moments of your life, but really being so aware of how you're reacting in a moment, or even acting in a moment, not even reacting off of something. Who's showing up in that moment? Who am I? Am I somebody that woke up and, something irritated me this morning and I didn't really get a chance to be present with it, and now I find myself in the car and I'm feeling rather impatient and annoyed and agitated, and now I'm going to take that into my job, into my workplace, and I'm not going to be much good in my work environment if I'm not in the best mood. You can see how this starts to kind of gather momentum, and not very positive momentum. Right. And the next thing you know, you have been swept up in this sort of reactive bubble, and you don't know how to get out of it.
Wow, reactive bubble. That's a very good phrase. Reactive bubble. I'm thinking of reactive spiral, like kind of spiraling down. But the reactivity begets reactivity, and emotions are contagious, and then instant World War III. Yes. So I just want everyone to know about your previous book, which is really wonderful, by Ora Nadrich, Says Who? How one simple question can change the way you think forever. So that one question is, who's saying this? Who's saying this inside my head? Where did this come from?
Right. Exactly right. Says Who is exactly that. That's the first question of a 7-question method. The first one being, says who? When we say things like, oh, I'm such an idiot. Oh, I'm never going to meet my soulmate. never going to get that job, never going to have a baby, nobody's ever going to love me, I'm never going to be, if I hadn't already said the successful one, it's like we accept these thoughts so readily to be true. We tell ourselves all sorts of terrible things, supposedly we think between 40 and 70,000 thoughts a day, and a good percentage of those are not very positive sometimes for people. Different people have different inner dialogue going on in their head. But what I'm aware of is that we accept the things that we tell ourselves very quickly, and we want to be mindful of our inner self-talk.
Yes.
If you don't challenge those thoughts that turn into your core beliefs, then guess what? You're going to be walking around, whether you're conscious of it or not, with a belief about yourself that you are unlovable. And that you aren't ever going to get married because you're never going to meet your soulmate, and on and on and on. Do you know? So, Says Who is really a very user-friendly, I call it, questioning method to, it's the inquiry, it's like you want to be able to ask yourself the questions so that you can challenge the thoughts that don't serve your well-being.
Right, the inquiry. I love that. So simple and so profound. I call it a simple profundity.
I like that.
Yeah. So, Says Who, how one simple question can change the way you think forever, by Ora Nadrich, as is her current book, Live True, A Mindfulness Guide to Authenticity. And Ora, I think so many people misunderstand what authenticity is. And, for instance, like, in the name of honesty, you don't want me to be honest? I want to be honest here. And so what do you say to that kind of thing?
Well, I have a whole chapter on honesty in Live True, and I really, explored it very deeply because, sometimes we think we're being honest, but we might have an agenda with our honesty, So we want to be really, again, very mindful of why we're saying what we're saying. Whether we're admitting something in the name of honesty or we're telling somebody something in the name of honesty. This is, again, having such a mindful awareness of what our intention is.
Right.
I'm being honest in this moment because I want to be truthful to myself. I'm ready to look at things about myself that might be uncomfortable for me. Do you know? What are you telling yourself in the name of honesty? And or I have to be honest with this person, or I need to tell them the truth.
Yes.
Do you know? I even go into Live True that sometimes we refrain from being honest with somebody because we're afraid we're going to hurt them. So it's a very delicate thing, and I think, again, that awareness of why am I saying this, whether I'm saying this to myself or I'm saying it to another person. Am I clear? Am I aware of what, again, my intention is here?
Right.
What do I hope to gain by this?
Yes, what is my motive? What do I hope to gain? And you write in that chapter, honesty, when combined with mindfulness, is having a keen awareness of what it is we want to convey and why. So
exactly right.
Right. So what is it we want to convey? What I really want you to know this because. So what is the heart and gist of the message? And is there another way of saying it?
Exactly right, because, if you're fully aware of, why you want to say something, or you feel compelled to say something, or you think it's really necessary to say something, or that it's really important to say something, how are you going to convey it? There's, these are wonderful little pieces, if you will, to, in other words, it's like there's that intention. I want to be honest, and this is why I want to do it. And now am I clear about how I want to convey this message to a loved one? how do I even want to say this to myself?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Am I saying this to myself lovingly? Am I saying this to myself with kindness? You know, we need to be reminded about that a lot because of the critical self-talk.
Right.
And, we know, we all have the inner critic to varying degrees, but there are people that are just brutal to themselves. They wouldn't tolerate someone talking to them like that for a second.
Right. Right. Yes, to varying degrees, we all do have that inner critic. And I think that when you write, let me be honest with myself, and combining, of course, honesty with compassion, say silently, I choose honesty with compassion.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to comment that we, in the 12-step movement, and I have many, many 12-step clients, and whether it's AA or NA or Overeaters Anonymous or even Clutterers Anonymous, it's called the 4th step inventory. So sought through rigorous honesty to look at any character defects we might have. Rigorous self-honesty. And I like how you put that. Even when we're being honest with ourselves, do we talk to ourselves with love, with kindness? And I think one can be honest and not be brutal.
Absolutely. And I know that, things like even that I mentioned that is sort of something that someone can say to themselves, just not really taking it very seriously. It's like, even when you say things like, oh, I'm such an idiot. Oh, I'm so stupid. If somebody said that, if I could hear what they're telling themselves silently, and I said, do you really think you're stupid? I'm sure they're going to say to me, well, no. I mean, I don't think I'm stupid just as a general opinion about myself, but I think what I did was stupid. Maybe in that moment, what I did makes me feel like I did something stupid. Do you know? And we don't usually deconstruct it in that way. But, if you tell yourself something that many times, you might start to believe it.
Right.
You might start to think, maybe I am stupid because I tend to do stupid things. Bringing a mindful awareness to what you consider stupid or doing stupid things, again, are you helping yourself with those friendly reminders so that maybe you can start to eliminate doing things that might make you feel like it was stupid? Do you know?
Yes.
In other words, maybe a nice thing to say to oneself is, I really don't like telling myself that I'm stupid. I don't really think I'm stupid. But, I might want to raise my awareness about maybe I tend to be very forgetful, and so maybe I could put Post-its on my mirror. And that maybe I won't forget so much, which my forgetting might make me feel stupid, and then I tell myself I'm stupid, and I don't really like to feel that way.
So acknowledgement with a kindness and an action step. How can I remedy this?
Right.
Well, Ora Nadrich, I want to thank you so much for another wonderful show. And
thank you, Dr. Duffy.
You're so welcome. And Ora Nadrich has written a book called Live True, A Mindfulness Guide to Authenticity. And many, many blessings, Ora, and thank you so much for bringing so much of yourself to the world and helping us to live authentically and honestly with kindness. And this is Dr. Duffy Spencer saying goodbye for now and wishing you great relationships.
The views views expressed on air are not necessarily those of WHPC, its management, or Nassau Community College. Responsible opposing viewpoints will be considered by emailing them to whpc@ncc.edu or by mail at WHPC 1 Education Drive, Garden City, New York 11530. Thanks for listening to the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
This show is brought to you by Rita Presents, the 20th edition of the Homemade Wine Extravaganza, an afternoon of food, wine, and dancing. Sunday, November 10th at 1 p.m. at Verdi's Restaurant, 680 Old Country Road in Westbury. You can enter your wine, red or white, 1 gallon per entry, and no bottles, please. Find out how to reserve your spot to attend and how to register your wine for the Homemade Wine Extravaganza on Sunday, November 10th at 1 p.m. at Verdi's Restaurant in Westbury by calling 516-426-1701. That's 516-426-1701.
This show is brought to you by Disney on Ice presents Road Trip Adventure, coming to NYCB Live, home of the Nassau Veterans Memorial Coliseum, November 21st through the 30th. Mickey, Minnie, and you embark on a ride to your favorite Disney destinations. See the world from the rooftops of London, travel to the sun-soaked Motunui, set off on a safari to the Pride Lands, and play at a larger-than-life carnival with Woody and Forky. It's a getaway packed with unexpected hijinks and up-close character interactions. More information is available online at DisneyOnIce.com.
The voice of Nassau Community College.
A 2019 Marconi Award finalist from the National Association of Broadcasters.